So,
Hello. Hello.
yes,
Hi, this is Teresa. This is
yes,
Teresa
hi,
from
Teresa.
Hong Kong. Hello. Sorry. Try to connect my phone, my speaker. Sorry. Just would like to introduce myself. I'm very new to CMA. I'm just in the middle of the first training of coaching. The reason I'm here is, of course, to support my coach, Leanna, and I'm also very interested in the topic today. So very looking forward to hear about it. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Teresa, for joining us. Thank you so much, everyone, and welcome again and again. At this point, I would like to introduce to you our speakers for this session, Mrs. Leona Wan, Mr. Parkson Soon, woohoo, and Mrs. Rainbow Chow, and all of them are ICF professional certified coaches. Leona and her team have focused their career on training executives by partnering with them and through the art and science of transformative coaching to guide them through leadership challenges, professional or career transitions, or simply personal growth. Today, Leona and her team will shed light on interesting observations from their experience, namely that the spirit of coaching may sometimes be perceived as based on Western culture and that it may not work well for audiences of an Eastern background. By giving us an overview of the teaching of great Eastern philosophers, leaders, and wisdom schools, today's presenters will show us that these largely coincide with the spirit of transformative coaching in the sense that they all lead us to personal and professional growth. I now leave it to Coach Leona to introduce herself more and her team and to take us through this insightful presentation. Thank you, everyone. To you, Leona.
Thank you, Lena, for introducing us. In fact, myself, Leona, Rainbow, and Parkson, we're all based in Hong Kong, and I'm the Director of Training of Coach Masters Academy based in Hong Kong, as you can tell. And tonight's topic, I have great passion in that because other than being a coach, I actually perform coaching training in multinational companies as well. And quite often, especially when I'm delivering the training in the APAC region, people will come up to me and challenge and say that, hey, coaching is a Western thing, you know, how could it apply to people from the East? And which is very different from my experience. So I would like, and thank you for Rainbow and Parkson that join me and have the same feelings, that we are here tonight to share with you our understanding of what is transformative coaching and how the Eastern wisdom is similar to what we're learning in transformative coaching. So may I share the slides that I have with you first? Can you all see it? Yes? Okay, good. So, yearning for transformation is universal. You know, it's not about the East and West. Is we can find similarity. The webinar is created based on our exposure and understanding of transformative coaching and Eastern wisdom. It is about the similarity we find, and because of the wide scope of Eastern wisdom, and we only have what, like 40 to 45 minutes. So our references is mostly tied to Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. We also will cover some tips we learned from this Eastern wisdom for you to reflect on for your personal growth and professional growth. Well, my coaching experience started some time ago when I had my first coaching session. And this first experience reminds me of one scene in a TV series. Yeah. Which TV series is that? If you cannot guess, let me share that scene with you, and you tell me whether you watched this TV series before. Okay? Let's start.
Ugly.
And yet to another such creature, might not this one appear beautiful?
So beauty differs from being to being.
Beauty is constant, as is the truth. Seek and find what is the truth.
What is the truth of man, Master?
It has been said that a man is three things: what he thinks he is, what others think he is, and what he really is. Which of these do you believe is the truth?
What he really is. But if a man is wrong about himself, and others are wrong about him, who is left to say what he really is?
At what point in time can a man be fixed and frozen if he is to live and grow?
He must change.
As the lowly caterpillar transformed itself into a finer and more beautiful creature.
Wow. Who watched this TV series before? Can you raise your hand? For those who watched this TV series before, raise your hand either physically or press the button of raise hand. Quite a few people. Thank you for being honest, because we actually disclosing how ancient we are. For me, coaching is a special conversation, okay? In this conversation, a shift happens to the client's internal mental model, and it changes the thinking, feeling, and behavior that come with this new insight. And this new insight is formed by heightening awareness and deepening learning in this special conversation. Just like that older monk in this video said, at what point in time can a man be fixed and frozen if he's to live and grow? As a lowly caterpillar transforms itself into a finer and more beautiful creature. As this scene become a metaphor for me of my understanding of transformative coaching, I started to associate the spirit of transformative coaching to other Eastern wisdoms. The first thing is heightening of awareness comes from reflective learning. Wise people from East heighten their awareness through reflective learning since, from my knowledge, more than 2,000 years ago. Zhangzi, one of the four sages of Confucianism, was a philosopher and disciple of Confucius. His wise words was recorded is the Analects, which is an ancient Chinese book written during the Warring States period of 475 to 221 BC. And let me share with you what he said in that very ancient book more than 2,000 years ago. Zhangzi, he actually said, every day I examine myself on three counts. When I'm serving others, have I done my best? In my dealing with friends, have I failed to be trustworthy in what I say? Have I failed to master and practice the instructions of my teacher? By reflecting on those value statements of his every day and adjusted his behavior, he aimed at becoming a better person. Some of you might find this practice familiar, right? As reflective questions on self, which heighten people's awareness, has been a cornerstone of transformative coaching. It is not something new. It's just that in recent years, we start to hear from the science of coaching, and we can even dearly associate it to our Eastern wisdom. What do you think, Rainbow?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people have their own reflective questions. And if you don't have any reflective questions, those are good ones to adopt. That's how I'm going to look at it. So I'm going to introduce another spirit of transformative coach, which is the Deepened Learning. So I'm going to show you this word. For those who can read Chinese or Japanese, well, which is kanji, you might know this word already. So let me share the screen. Okay, anyone knows this word? Can be in Mandarin, can be in Cantonese. Anyone wants to say something? Okay, so this word, what is this word about? So first of all, this word means the aha moment. So basically we're talking about when we are in deepened learning, the outcomes of the deepened learning, a lot of times it's the aha moment. So this is the word for aha moment. In Mandarin, we pronounce as wu. In Cantonese, because we have people from different parts of the world, in Cantonese it's ng. And in Japanese is satori. Okay. So basically, satori is a Zen Buddhist term for awakening or enlightenment or getting insights. And it refers to the experience of kensho. Now, so kensho, right? Ken means seeing and sho means nature. So when you put those words together, kensho means seeing into one's true nature. So there's a Japanese author, and his name is D.T. Suzuki. So he wrote a lot of books and essays about Buddhism, Zen, Shin, and he said satori is about acquiring a new point of view in our dealings with life. So I'm going to share with you a funny story regarding enlightenment or getting insights regarding a family of thieves in ancient China. One day, the son told his father, he said, "Father, you are getting too old, and you should be teaching me all these techniques or secrets of stealing, or else it will be all gone when you are getting too old." So the father said, "Okay, all right, I'm going to teach you." So one night, he took his son, and they broke into a house. And then when they went in the house, they saw a closet. So the father opened the closet, and then he said to his son, "Go inside and hide and watch me in action." So the son obediently climbed into the closet. So the father closed the closet, locked the closet, and then he yelled, "Someone in the house, someone broke in the house." And then he ran away. So the family noticed, oh, somebody, yelled saying that there's someone in the house. So they're searching everywhere for this thief, but they didn't see anyone or lose anything. So they went back to sleep. So the son was in panic because he was locked in the closet. So he was thinking, how am I going to get out of this? And then suddenly an idea came. So he imitated the sound of a rat, chattering and squeaking and making all these rattling sound inside the closet. A moment later, the mistress came with her maid, and the maid held her lantern. And when they opened the closet, the son hurried out, blew out the lantern, and ran away. Now the servants saw the son, and they chased after him. And when the son came to a well, he lifted up a big rock and then threw into the well. After a detour, the son finally came home safely. And when he saw his father, he was complaining why his father was framing him. So the father said, "So how did you get out? How did you escape?" So the son told him the whole story. And then the father said, "See, you never run out of food anymore. You've already learned my secret." And the son suddenly came to realization, stealing is not about learning how to steal. It's about experiencing firsthand and learn how to run away. So that was the or Wu or Satori for this son. So this is one way we're talking about getting insights, getting enlightenment or awakening. Okay. Now, the other thing we have to talk about when we talk about deepened learning is we are the vessel for learning. And in order to do that, we have to empty out ourselves. So I'm going to show you this video regarding emptying out. Just bear with me a second. Okay. And okay, so I'm just curious. What do you learn from that fun video clip about learning? Anyone? I've given you some hints beforehand. You can unmute yourself if you want to say something. What do you learn from the video clip? No one?
Yeah, I
We
think
can't add until we are empty.
Ah, yes. So I saw someone wrote in a chat box as well. Say, for example, Dinusha said, if you need a non-stick mind to learn new things, the non-stick mind, Ben has been talking about it today, right? Right. Okay. Thank you. And then Subara, unlearn before you learn. Yes, Ronald, we need to adopt a learner mindset. Yep. And then Hafna, I think. Sorry, Hafna, both the coach and coachee needs to be in the state of emptiness so they can explore and learn. And Nok also said, unlearn first. And yes, we need to have a beginner's mindset. So definitely. So basically, you have to unlearn to learn. And because you might be filled with all these ideas and views, and it's really hard to stuff in more, right? So we have to unlearn to learn. So empty our cup before we learn. So that's one prerequisite of how we can prepare ourselves to learn. Now, the other thing that we're going to talk about is the direction of learning as well. So if you're familiar with CMA model, we talk about the inside out. So if we're talking about from the Eastern philosopher, there's similar comparison. It's called Ikigai. So I'm going to again show you what this is about. Oops. Okay. So Ikigai is basically, you can see this model, the center is the core of the being. And then we're going to coach the client from the center into outside, so inside out approach. So that's the Ikigai that we talked about. So what's the difference or what's the similarity of Ikigai? So Ikigai is a Japanese concept referring to having a direction or purpose of life, providing a sense of fulfillment that follows when people pursue their passions. So the person with Ikigai is motivated and may take actions willingly, spontaneously, and that will give satisfaction and sense of meaning. Now, it's really good if you can deepen learning ourselves, but as a coach, we are also a vehicle to help our clients to learn, to deepen learning. Although now we are talking about the coach, but in the ancient times, we do have someone, and these ones are the monk who helps people to learn. there is a word in Chinese called 点化 or 点法, which is basically, in English, it's called revealing. So what does revealing means? It's actually a term, a Buddhist term, which is talking about how the monks inspire others through a conversation. So nowadays we use this term day to day just to talk about, the meaning of inspiring others, 点化 or 点法. So as we coaches, we have very similar roles in a sense as the monk, in the sense that we want to inspire people and to deepen their learning. Okay, so that's for deepened learning. And the third one is change to shift.
Wow. Heightening the awareness and deepening learning will bring us a shift. And what is shift? Let me bring you more story and cartoon movies. In a minute, I'm going to show you a video. It is about a koan. Koan is a story, dialogue, situation, or statement which is used in Zen practice to provoke the Saintoli, that is the Wu or that Rainbow just showed us, the enlightenment. And by doing this, the Zen monk use it to test or practice the Zen practitioner to see how they progress in their learning. So let me show you this cartoon and story and see how you can associate it to transformative coaching practice in the modern years.
Koans often ridiculed characters claiming total understanding of the world around them. One such example finds 3 monks debating a temple flag rippling in the wind. The first monk refers to the flag as a moving banner, while the second monk insists that they are not seeing the flag move, but rather the wind blowing. They argue back and forth until finally a third monk intervenes. It is not the flag moving, nor the wind blowing, but rather the movement of your minds. One interpretation of this koan plays on the supposed wisdom of the arguing monks. The first asserting the importance of the observable world, the second favoring deeper knowledge we can infer from that world. But each monk's commitment to his own answer blinds him to the other's insight, and in doing so defies an essential Buddhist ideal, abolishing binary thinking. The third monk identifies their conflict as a perceptual one. Both arguing monks fail to see the larger picture.
It is interesting that these koans were written and recorded in ancient Buddhism literature, especially this one. It is from the Zen school that was created in about the 500 AC, around the 500 AC, when the Buddhism originated in India, was adopted in China and become the school of Zen. And it's interesting that in this ancient story, they already introduced the concept of how binary thinking trapped us from being enlightened. Binary thinking locks us into having only 2 choices, when in reality, there are always multiple ways to look at things, many of which we can't even imagine because it is out of the realm of our own experience. As this koan implies, we do not see things as they are. We see things as our thoughts are. When our thinking is limited to only 2 possibilities, our self-talk tends to heat up with an emotional charge. It's almost as if we cease thinking and we only react. We can do this or we can do that. And here's why this is right and that is wrong. Rumbling in our head. If you picture a pendulum, it would be swinging all the way to one side or to the other side. When that we really want is be settled somewhere in between. Yet we keep gravitating to such extremes. As in transformative coaching, an aha moment happens when instead of jumping right into confront very diverse opinions and reacting, we walk with our client to step back, catch our breath, and reflect on what is the truth in this moment. Shall we do some reflection now, Parkson?
Yes, thank you, Leona. I'm so pleased to see we have so much contents, and we entered into such a zen mode and learning mode for the time being. So I want to do a very quick check-in with all the audience here. So please kindly use your chat box to review what you are thinking. So the first question for our check-in is, what words or phrases that catch your attention? Would you please put in the words or phrases in the chat box just to share with all of us? So again, let me repeat the question. What words or phrases in the first part of this sharing catch your attention? Please share it in the chat box. Yes, emptying my cup, inspire people and deepen learning. That's a few main big themes there. Wow, it's a lot. Binary thinking, limits thinking, it's a thinking barrier. We need to empty our mind, both our coach and coachee as well. Aha moments, we talk about enlightenment. It's your mind that moves, not the flag or the wind. Yes, we saw that in the video. And one cannot learn if one is full. Yes, emptying the cup concept. We don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. Yes, thank you very much, Grace, for that. So we have also a couple as well on similar concepts. Finding our own true identity. I think that's an interesting one as well. Again, on reflective questions, on learning. Yeah, thank you very much for all your contribution on that. So I just wonder, when you write that, the second question, please write in your chat box. When you put those words and phrases in the chat box, or when you have the words or phrases that come to your mind, how do you feel about these words? Your feelings. How do you feel about that? Again, please share it in the chat box. Feeling inspired? I feel have that aha moment, feeling excited, inspired, positive. So lots of positive energy there. Liberating. I just wonder what has been liberated in the process. Excited. Strange, we don't hear these things commonly. So that's why we are talking about this tonight. So very good, feeling also very empowered, feeling very open and curious. Lots of wisdom there, Eastern wisdom, feeling refreshed and wise. Okay, good. So I think we have lots of positive energy there. So what if we continue the second part of our session? Leona?
Yep, thank you, Parson. So the second part of the, yep. So far we've talked about the spirits of transformative coaching. So then the other part we're going to talk about, so remember, what are the spirit of transformative coaching? 3 things: heightened awareness, deepened learning, change via shift. So those are the spirits of transformative coaching. So for the rest of the time, we're going to focus on the person, the transformative coach or the change agent. So I'm going to start with quoting a phrase from the War of Arts. Okay, so for those who can read Chinese, probably you learned this phrase when you were a kid, 修身齊家治國平天下, or 修身齊家治國平天下. So it's like a really quick way that we always remember in Chinese. But in English, we have to translate from, okay, the first thing we have to do is to cultivate ourselves. We need to have the right heart and right mind. Then we'll be able to bring order to the family. And then we'll be able to govern the country and bring peace to all at last. So these are almost like the sequential steps. The very first thing, the most important thing in order to create impact, especially for our clients, is that we must first cultivate ourselves as coaches. So how do we cultivate? So there are 3 pillars for transformative coach. So the first one is knowing, being, and doing. So I'm going to talk about what do you mean by knowing. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to quote the Art of War here. So the Art of War here, we're talking about 孙子兵法. And one of the articles, so Art of War is actually not written, but it's actually attributed by Sun Tzu, who is a Chinese military strategist back in the 5th century BC. And in his in the booklet, there are 13 chapters. And the most famous one, the one that people always remember, is this one right here, these 8 Chinese words. 知己知彼,百戰百勝, or 知己知彼,百戰百勝, which means, if you talk about 知己, which is the first 2 words, which means knowing ourselves. 知彼, which means knowing our opponents. 百戰 means having hundreds of battles. And 百勝 means winning the battles. So putting together is we have to know ourselves really well. We have to know our opponents really well for us to win all the wars. Okay. So of course, we're not talking about warfare here, right? But I would like to quote it because it's the spirit of knowing ourselves as a coach and also knowing our clients. If we know ourselves well, we know our clients well, and that will make the conversation much more meaningful and fruitful. And it's a win-win situation for both the client and the coach. So when I talk about knowing ourselves, what do we mean by knowing ourselves? What do you mean by knowing ourselves? Can you put it in a chat box, please? One of the things we have to know about ourselves as a coach or as a change agent. So we have to know our strength and weakness. That's Charlu, thank you. Let's see our values, Jamie, our values, beliefs, and biases. That's really important, the biases. Being aware of who we are, our communication style, our value, state of mind, yes, and perceptions. State of mind is really important. Are we in a bad state of mind sometimes when we got really stressed out? Are we be able to do a good job, right? So that's really important as well. The other thing that here it also mentioned the coaching boundaries. That's really important. Basically, we're talking about the role, right? Which I'm going to talk about that later. Our being, our blind spots, self-awareness, the coaching ethics. So we're going to talk about that as well. So basically knowing ourselves, strengths and weaknesses, as you said, values, our beliefs, our biases, right? Even our habits, our behaviors, our state of mind. So that's really important. Now, just now, is it Pooh? Pujita? It's a really long word, so I'll call you Pooh. So coaching boundaries, that's really important as well. Knowing our role as a coach. So knowing our role as a coach, we're talking about being loyal. Now, the word loyal, we actually have this word in Chinese where when we serve our, maybe serve our king or serve our client, we always use that word loyal, which also applies in the coaching world, because being loyal to our role as a coach, so not crossing our professional boundary, and being loyal when serving our clients. Now, when we say being loyal when serving our clients, what are we talking about? being loyal when serving our clients. What were you talking about then? And Pooh, when you said coaching ethics, can you elaborate a little bit? So Alice said being authentic, okay, not having an agenda, yeah.
So I think being open-minded.
Being open-minded, yes, yes. So that's our, yes. So when you enter into the conversation, yeah. So there's something that's quite specific to our client when we talk about being loyal and serving our client. What are we referring to? Because you talk about openness, being authentic is about ourselves. But what about to our client? Ren said belief in client strength. Trust, yes. Building trust. Being transparent, yes. Respecting, yeah. Respecting a partnership with the client, yep. That's correct. Bring out the best in client, definitely, yes. Respecting clients, yeah. Client growth. Being selfless, yes. So there's one more thing. Apart from building trust, we talk about confidentiality. We talk about how do we make them feel safe, right? Safety is another thing that when we serve our client, we make sure that we provide this safety environment so that the client feel comfortable and trust us. Okay? And of course, we have to offer space for reflective learning as well, which we've learned when we were doing CMA training. So knowing our clients, quite straightforward, right? I think some of you mentioned about it already. So knowing our clients talks about understanding them, right? Know what they want. Here, you already talked about it in chat box. Allowing them space, allowing them to touch their inner peace, yeah? So we want to know what they want and the needs, the real needs. We identify, help them to clarify, identify their real needs. And also, we are also curious to understand their frame of reference. So when we learned the frame of reference, we're talking about the thinking, the feeling, the behaviors, and also we refer to the past or the present or the future experience. So that's for knowing. Now, what about being? We talk a lot about being, right? Being, being fully present. So one of the things when as a coach or as a change agent, being fully present is that, let me just show you the slide here. Now, this is a skill, but there's one thing that's really important from this skill. This is a Chinese word, a traditional Chinese word, which means listen or tang or ting in Mandarin. There are different colors. So I'm going to start with the red color on the left-hand side. So the red color is actually the ears. So of course we need to have the ears to listen, right? Now, the other thing is, apart from the ears, we actually need to observe. We need our eyes. We not only need a pair of eyes, we need 10 humble eyes. Because the thing is, sometimes when you observe the client, you observe their whole body, you observe their facial expression, you observe their body language, you observe little things, and you need 10 eyes to help you. Okay. And then the third element of listening here is to listen with respect. It's almost like listen to a king with respect. Last but not least, which is the most important in terms of being fully present, is to listen with undivided attention. Listen with one heart. So what do you mean by listen with one heart? How do we listen with one heart? Anyone? How do we listen with one heart? We only have one heart. What are you talking about, Rainbow? But are we listening to with one heart? Listen with sympathy or empathy, compassionate, not judging what he says and how he says it. Yeah, focused. Yes, focus. Feel the words. It's almost like you are almost like beating with them, your heart, when you're with your client. So understand how they feel, right? And try to clarify their thoughts. And you really need to be absolutely focused in order to clear the clouds for the client. And you cannot be distracted. You cannot think of yourself. You have to be selfless, which you've mentioned before. And that's why we're talking about, in order to be in sync, which Ken says here, in order to be in sync with the client. So that's one heart. One heart is basically no distraction, purely, the spotlight is purely on the client and nothing from you. It's almost like, that's why you need to be empty yourself, the empty cup. Okay. Now, Leona, what about the partnership? Can you talk about the beings in the partnership? Share with us.
Sure. So being continues. Okay, one of my coaching mentors, she's a Tai Chi master. And she told me that the partnership between a transformative coach and their clients is very similar to the concept of Tai Chi. Who knows what a Tai Chi looks like? Let me show you. Yay, someone said, yeah, I know how a Tai Chi looks like. Let me show you. Sorry, stuck a bit.
Koans often...
Sorry, let me start again. Sorry about the technical stuff. I want to make sure you hear the sound as well. So this is how a Tai Chi looks like. Okay, as some of you already raised hand and said. And in Tai Chi, there are three critical elements to it. First of all, there are two fishes shaped in the symbol. Notice that each fish has a fat end and a skinny end called maximum and minimum. This is meant to depict the idea that either side can grow from a minimal to maximum. And it's also highlighted the essence of the Tai Chi, which is the yin and yang, the pairing of any complementary opposites, and they are equal in the relationship. The second thing to notice about the Tai Chi symbol is that there is a little spot of either light or dark in center of the maximum ends or the other end. This is meant to show that even in the deepest yin, there is the spark of yang and the other way around. The third thing, as I play the video again, to understand is the Tai Chi symbol is not a static circle. It is actually a wheel in constant motion. It is like the full partnership between the coach and the client when there is an ongoing two-way learning process during the coaching conversation. The process is non-judgmental and it is generative. Speaking about non-judgmental, I try to go after rainbow of telling you a story that we can find in the ancient book of Taoism, Tao Te Ching, Dao De Ging. In there, there's a story. Two guys, they're chatting. Nietzsche asked Wang Ni, what are the standards of right or wrong? How would I know that, said Wang Ni. Do you know that you don't know it? So if you don't know it, how would I know that? If a man sleeps in a damp place, he's likely to get arthritis. But is this true of the mudfish? If he lives in a tall tree, the man is terrified and shakes with fright. But is this true of a monkey? Of these three creatures, then which one knows the proper place to live? What is right, what is wrong? Men claim that Lady Li is beautiful, but if a fish saw her, it may well swim away in disgust. Which creature has the right standard of beauty for the world? So in the path of seeking truth and learning from inside out, being non-judgmental is the way we be. So being fully present and being in full partnership with our client without judgment, those are the beings that for transformative coach to cultivate, as Rainbow reminded us. With that, we might left us the question of, okay, it's all good that we know all this. We are being all those when cultivating. So what do a coach really do in order to transform? Hey, this is the big secret. Let me show you a video.
Wu Wei means in Chinese non-doing or doing nothing. It sounds like a pleasant invitation to relax or worse, fall into laziness or apathy. Yet this concept is key to the noblest kind of action according to the philosophy of Taoism, and is at the heart of what it means to follow Tao or the way. According to the central text of Taoism, the Tao Te Ching, the way never acts, yet nothing is left undone. This is the paradox of Wu Wei. It doesn't mean not acting, it means effortless action or actionless action. It means being at peace while engaged in the most frenetic tasks, so that one can carry these out with maximum skill and efficiency. Something of the meaning of Wu Wei is captured when we talk of being in the zone, at one with what we're doing, in a state of profound concentration and flow. Wu Wei is closely connected to the Taoist reverence for the natural world, for it means striving to make our behavior as spontaneous and inevitable as certain natural processes, and to ensure that we are swimming with rather than against currents. We are to be like the bamboo that bends in the wind, or the plant that adjusts itself to the shape of a tree. Wu Wei involves letting go of ideals that we may otherwise try to force too violently onto things. It invites us instead to respond to the true demands of situations, which tend only to be noticed when we put our own ego-driven plans to one side. What can follow is a loss of self-consciousness, a new unity between the self and its environment. But none of this means we won't be able to change or affect things if we strive for Wu Wei. The Tao Te Ching points out that we should be like water, which is submissive and weak, and yet which can't be surpassed for attacking what is hard and strong. Through gentle persistence and a compliance with a specific shape of a problem, an obstacle can be worked around and gradually eroded.
Effortless action. Just like this concept of Wu Wei, in order for us to be actionless action and effortless, we practice coaching mastery in the zone with maximum skill and efficiency. And that's why in Coach Masters Academy, we inspire positive change with coaching excellence. Hence, being the change agent, transformative coach enables our clients effortlessly when we're highly skilled. And that's why we always aim high. And only by constant practice and setting high standard of what we offer to our coaching clients, then we can become effortless. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. And being effortless, it also means that transformative coaches offer in-the-moment observations to our clients with no attachment. Just like Rainbow mentioned earlier, and earlier in today's webinar by our founder, Dr. Ben Cole, let's have no attachment as transformative coach, because the heightening of awareness and deepening of learning all happen in the moment. So in order for the generative field to happen effortlessly, we must learn to have no attachment. If the moment is gone, there's always a next moment. And the following popular koan story helps me to understand what is no attachment. Some of you might know this story before, and please enjoy with me again.
Consider this koan illustrating the practice of no attachment. Two monks, Tanzen and Aikido, are traveling together down a muddy road. Ahead they see an attractive traveler, unable to cross the muddy path. Tanzen politely offers his help, carrying the traveler on his back across the street and placing her down without a word. Aikido was shocked. According to monastic law, monks were not supposed to go near women, let alone touch a beautiful stranger. After miles of walking, Aikido could no longer restrain himself. How could you carry that woman? Tanzen smiled. I left the traveler there. Are you still carrying her?
Yeah. How often, and together with the empty cup metaphor, how often it's so hard for us to empty out and we attach to things. So every time when I'm cultivating myself, that story I just share will pop up and say, hey, Leona, being a monk, are you still carrying that woman on your shoulder as you're coaching your client? The last sharing about what we actually do, actually, the more you watch it, you found that a transformative coach life is pretty easy, right? Actionless, no attachment. And the next concept I'm going to share with you is intended blank. Wisdom is also demonstrated in form of drawings in Eastern wisdom. Intended blank is an art of ink drawing, which the artist highlights only bare essentials of the scenery or objects in the picture. They leave a lot of blank for their audience to exercise their imagination and creativity. Just like in coaching, we create space for our clients to see clearer of what is happening inside. Let's take a moment, a quiet moment. It won't be too long because I know it's late, you might fall asleep. But let's take a moment and see what you can see in this Chinese painting with intended blank. Okay, I can play it for longer, and I can sense some of them started to see things, as Laura said, no roads. If we cannot see it, where's the roads? Oh, vastness. What else? Yeah, we can see things in the blank. People can see the water, the ocean. And if we let this intended blank happen in a masterful way, there's possibility, peace, opportunities, peacefulness, so many possibilities coming out in this insightful conversation that brings transformation. And with this, it's time for us to reflect again. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Leona, for sharing as well. I have so much inner peace in this second part of the session. So I just want to check again. Please write in the chat box. The first question is, what insights have emerged for you today in this session? So we are talking about the full session. at the start to now. So what insights have you got? So while everybody is writing in the chat box, I'll just share mine. Takeaway actually is Wu Wei. It's really to forego the ideals, letting go of it. So let's take a look. Being fully present. On the other hand, be aware of my own judgment biases, strive to be emptying the cup. Also, Vivian shared is Wu Wei again. I connected mindfulness with being. I learned also the heart is so important to be there too. Thank you very much, being. Intended blank, it's good to coach and quiet. Empty our thoughts. Seems like it's a lot about emptying our thoughts. The power of change is within. Partnership, be in the moment. This one, Grace shared flow. When the moment is gone, there is an opportunity for another moment. So much inner peace. No attachment, knowing ourselves. Seems like we have lots of takeaway in this session. Things start with self-awareness. Thank you very much, PM Sok. So then, of course, after we have all these sharing, the next question is, how can we going to use our insights and sharing just to make a little bit more change in our lives, whether be it in our personal life or as a coach? So then the question is, how are you going to use your insights or learning today? Can you please also share it in the chat box as well? I think all your sharing are really great. We have lots of inner peace and positive energy there. So a final question before we summarize this session. How are you going to use your insight or learning today, whether be it as a person or as a coach? Thanks, Lizzie. Start working on myself first. Hey, that's really the key. So these key takeaways will form part of the coaching toolbox. I think it's a very good reminder for yourself as some of the guidelines or some even principles when you act as a coach. We'll work with the coach to know myself better. I think that's a good one. Yes, definitely. So we'll do some inner work, Salman. Be aware of the empty cup when talking to others. So Mary shared that emptying the cup is a very interesting concept and new learning. Allow space, blank, during coaching conversation as far as in personal life as well. Listen and respect with one heart. Learn and pay full attention. Wow, so I think we have created lots of energy here. And moving forward, I hope this session would really help you. And the key message here is yearning for transformation is universal. So coaching is not just a Western concept or methodology, but actually from years, centuries ago in the Eastern part, there are actually lots of wisdom which integrate or merge very well together with the transformative coaching. So thank you very much for all your sharing. Should I hand back the time to Leona?
And thank you very much for Rainbow Parkson to create this wonderful sharing with all of you. And thank you for Lena being our host. I'll bring the time back to Lena. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Wow, what a fabulous presentation. Thank you so much. And I heard a lot of beautiful insights and sharing. That's amazing. So we're going to give you now, we're going to open the floor for a few Q&A. If you have any questions in mind, please go ahead, step in, Just introduce yourself and let us know what's on your mind. Who would like to ask any question? Anyone would like to ask anything or clarify anything?
Hi, Lina.
Hi, Lizzie.
Lina, this is a new experience altogether. Since I started the CMA core training, I was like, wow. But today I'm more out. It's like there is so much more to learn. And it takes us deeper into deeper reflection to really know more about ourselves, for us to be in a position to impact the lives of others.
Yeah.
And I just love the doing, being, and knowing aspects. They took a different perspective of it all together. You know, we have learned about those three, but today it's like, wow, is it the same thing I have been taught? So kudos to the team. That was awesome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wow, Lizzie, thank you so much. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. You just made our day, actually. Thank you so much for this sharing. So is there anyone else would like to share anything or ask any question before we wrap it up? Everything is just clear for you guys? I would like you to know that there are many webinars that we are running during this week, every day until Friday. So you can find all the details on our website. So please don't miss these events. Go ahead and check our website for more details for the coming webinars. Okay, so we're done. No more questions? Because I'm mindful about the time. And before we wrap it up, I would like to make some important announcement and share it with you guys. First, all participants who are guests today will be entitled a $100 USD voucher to attend our transformative core training for the period that we will be running from June till September. And it's only eligible for guests who are joining us today. So if you are ready to inspire change in your life and join our core training, we are offering you a $100 USD. Okay, you just need to register. Send us an email to info@coachmastersacademy.com. Okay, you just have to send us an email to info@coachmastersacademy.com. And I'm going to stop the recording now because I'm going to announce the passcode of the voucher. Woohoo!